Okay, hello everyone. So let's start streaming again. So basically we implemented our translations for the login screen. So now, yeah, well, we are now logging in. The next, well, we cannot log in yet. The next thing is to create the login and to save it. So we will start with doing it. So basically for login part we will need some services. The first one we'll call create directory services. The first one is a service. It's called the REST service. And what the REST service will do, it will be a wrapper around the HTTP client to implement our HTTP calls. So we have an injectable. So this is our service there, and then we do export class REST service. We have a private read-only base URL, and eventually, well, so we should save this somewhere. When we change it, it's easily changed. So in my utils, I like to create a class called constants. We export this class, and then basically we do public static read-only base URL, and it's a string, and then we say it's HTTP / localhost 8080, and then we can say config constants dot rocket hello dot base URL. We need to implement it. Bang. So we have our base URL in our REST service. Then we need a constructor for injecting the dependencies. It's the HTTP client. So why do we want to wrap something around the HTTP client? Because I don't like how Angular is doing the generics with it, and we as well need some headers and stuff, and it's easier to do it like that. So we will have a first method, and it's public get user token, because remember we have two sorts of tokens. We have a user token and we have a public token. So the user token, we will pass the username string and the password string, and it will return an observable of any. The goal for this REST service is that it's only called in services itself, so and there on that observable should be happening a map to form it in the correct data. So we need a variable to hold our body of our request, and we will call HTTP params. So we do a new HTTP params, then we do set. We have the param name. The first one is the grant type, which will be password. Set, then we have username, which then will be the username, and then of course the last we have is the password, password. We as well have an other variable that cannot be changed, and it's for the headers. And this will be a static method. So REST service dot headers for Logout. And we give it a true because it's in our application. The next method we will create, you will see that it's false, and it's for a reason. So let's create that method. So it's private static headers for Logout, and it accepts is up, and it's a boolean, and this one returns HTTP headers. Yeah. So we need to set, I can show you in Postman. So this is the call we are trying to do. So we have our body, we already set it up, but we have as well have headers, and basically we have the authorization header, and it's a basic, and yeah, it's up public, and then we need the secret key. Yeah, that's what we need to do, and then we as well need to set these enter, and then we're happy with our code. So we'll have a base64 string. It can instead be a const instead of a let. And then we have btoa, which will convert it to base64. Then we need to check, is it an app? Then we prepend with app, else we prepend with public. And then we add our secret key. For now we will just add it here. Logout secret. We should move this to environment far as yeah, and make it a little bit more secure, but for now it will just work. We have our key in our backend, of course. We have it in our application properties. So basically it's this key, which we'll copy and then paste. And then it's of course easy when you just need to do constant dot Logout secret key, and this will work. And then eventually we need to return the HTTP headers, so we'll do return new HTTP headers dot set authorization basic, and we have the base64 string, and we set as well the content dash type, and I'm going to copy paste it from Postman because I don't know exactly what it is. And that's our static method. Let me check something of the TypeScript, because I don't think TS-lint is doing anything. Languages, TypeScript, TS-lint, enable, apply. Okay, so now we will get some errors, I think. Yeah, so indeed it says the quote marks needs to be single. Declaration static method should not be allowed after the declaration of yeah, but some things we will be removing. So in the TS-lint, no, the other one, we have quotes. We will put this to false. We have order. And I as well will put this as false. And then we can code like we want to and use our TSLint. By the way, if you have any questions, you can always ask in the chat the question and I will try to answer it. But now, so this endpoint is mainly for getting the token. So we need to do return this .http and we do a post. This .base URL and we say Logout/token. We then pass our body, we do a toString on it, and we pass in our headers. Come on, thanks. And this endpoint will then get a token used by a user. We can basically copy paste this one. Now we have a get public token. So we already will say that is app is false. Then the grant type is client underscore credentials, and the rest can be gone. That's it for the Auth for the public user token. We have another one, and we will copy paste it. Get refresh token. Well, we will not call it get, we will call it refresh token. Oh, in here we don't need the username and password, of course. For the refresh token we need a token, but no password. The grant type is then refresh underscore token, and then we set as well the refresh underscore token is equal to token, and we do the call as well and it will work. Nar, hi as well. Glad you guys are joining the stream. So that's all the token endpoints that will be in the REST service. After that, what do we have? We have a get, we have a post, we have a put, we have a delete, and we will add another special endpoint for upload. So I will already nurturing white spaces will as well be false. Yes, this is indeed Angular. So we have a public get endpoint. We will do some Java a little bit farther into the stream as well. String. Then we have a token as well as string. This is our access token. This is our refresh token. Maybe I should explain it. Refresh token, it's maybe a little bit better. We have a token and that's it. As well, unobservable any. It's the services task to map it to what we need. Then we have a const headers again, and it's again a REST service dot, and then yeah, we should have the headers, but okay. We will do headers for authenticated call, because all calls we will do from this service will be authenticated. We will return it. Of course, we will again make a private static headers for authenticated call. Which is basically return no HTTP headers. So we can put here HTTP headers. We set the name authorization. Well, maybe we should call it differently and say set authorization header. Maybe that's a little bit better. We R2D8. Hi. I did not try Kotlin yet because I have the feeling in big projects Kotlin will not be as clean and separate and separate as Java, because Java is laying conventions on you, which is Kotlin not. In Kotlin you can do everything in one file, and for a big open source project this is maybe an issue. That's why I like Java. Java has this stuff that you need to do, which Kotlin removes. Then you have, of course, the not nullable and stuff. But then from Java 8 plus, you can use optionals, which is also removing it. So I don't see the benefits for a big project for Kotlin. I see why you would use it for quick scope snippets, but not for the big ones. But maybe that's because I did not play around enough with it, but that's my view at the current moment. So this header will be basically a bearer, and then we pass it a token. But it's a solid technology, but it's weird. Everyone dislikes Scala, but everyone likes Kotlin, and Kotlin is just another Scala in my point of view. So yeah, it's a bit weird that now everyone loves Kotlin. I think it's just because the guys of JetBrains are behind it and they can marketing a bit better. But yeah. So now we have our set authorization header. We can add another header in there, and we say the content dash type is application slash JSON. Then we can of course do return this.http.get. We say this.base URL plus the endpoint. So our endpoints need to start with slash, which is fine. Then of course we pass in the headers. The rest of the endpoints are basically the same, so I will go over them quickly. So we have a post. Oh yeah, we need to pass our token there. Token here. But we as well have a data object, which can be anything. And we need to pass data here. And then we do a post, which is now implemented. The same for put. Same for upload. Upload will always be a post. It has an endpoint, it has data, but the data needs to be of form data. And we do not do the content type JSON. So that's the difference for upload. And then we have a delete, which is almost the same as the get. but we need to have delete with a capital because of yeah, reserved words. And then here is delete. Well, basically they can do it. Why can I do it? Oh, okay. So that's our REST service, which is basically a wrapper around HTTP, and so methods to get the tokens quickly. So for authentication, there are two things. So we first need to fetch our server, but we as well need to secure our routes into saying, oh yeah, this one is authenticated or this one. We will first do the getting the token part. So what we will do is create a new service. The service is called authentication.service. We have an authentication service. Add injectable. Thanks for following. Okay, so we have export class authentication service. We have a constructor. We'll need our REST service. But we will also need a new library. We need the library for JWT validation and stuff. Thanks for following Geuser and as well Mad Scientist 92. So Angular JWT. Let's see if we can find it. Let's see. Oh, wacht hè. Out 0 Angular JWT. Here it is. So it's used for 6. Okay, okay. We can do this one. So we do here. We will save it as well. And we only need one small thing from this. Oh yeah, yeah. I didn't look into Firebase yet. It looks interesting, but yeah, not looking into it. But this authentication is local for the application, so it's not something on the net. This one is local. We just use the Auth0 because they have a JWT helper, but our Auth authentication server lives on our application itself. So it's installed, and we could probably say JWT helper, JWT helper service. What we then as well probably need to do is JWT module, which will define probably the service. So that's it. So the first method we will create is, of course, an authenticate method. So we want a username, we want a password, and what will we observe? We will return an observable of a boolean, which means yeah, it returns true or false if it's happening. For the error handling, we will create something now. There is always a small clause that I like to use, that I found online by some guy, and it's really interesting. I will show it to you guys. We will create it now. So export class emitter service. This emitter service is capable of emitting to anywhere in the dang it, 2 typos. Okay, yeah, yes. So this emitter service will be able to emit anything with a certain key in the whole application, and the whole application can as well subscribe to it. And it works really easy, but it's, in my point of view, genius. So it has a private static emitters, and basically it has an ID as key, and then it's just an event emitter, which is something of Angular core, and it's an event emitter of any. So we have then a public static auth, and then we say ID, and it's a string, and this one returns then an event emitter of any. So if this dot emitters with the ID doesn't exist, so if we try to subscribe to an emitter and it doesn't exist, we say this dot emitters ID equals a new event emitter of any. If that is the end then is created, then we return it. And that's all the service does. So it doesn't do a lot, but this makes us that we can have emitters over the whole application, and I use it as well for error handling, which we will see directly. So then in here we have return this dot rest service dot get user token, pass it the username, we pass it the password, we do pipe, we pipe it, which is the new way in RxJS 6. So we pipe it, we have then a map, we have it from the operators, we have data which can be any, and then we have our lambda, and we as well here have a catch. Did it catch error now? Probably error HTTP error response, and we as well have this one. So if our call is correct, we have 200 or somewhere in the 200s, we will do session storage dot set item. We say we have the key token dash info, then we do JSON dot stringify. We need to give it a value, so we save our access underscore token, which comes from data dot access underscore token. By the way, do the stringify again, basically because we want less data in there than it's returned. Refresh underscore token is then data dot refresh underscore token. So I will put it on a new line, and then we will have a method. We need to implement it is refresh after delay. So basically what this will do is when we are using the Auth, we don't want the user automatically locked out. After a while it will refresh the OAuth token. So with the refresh OAuth token. So in our catch error we have two types of errors. If the error dot error is an instance of error, from Angular somewhere. It will work. This means that it's an Angular it's an Angular error. This means that just when something wrong we cannot do about it, so we will show a generic message. So we will just say emitter service, come on, import it, emitter service dot auth, and we say login error. So this is our ID, and after that we say we will emit the translation key dot errors dot something wrong. This translation key comes from our translation file. Something wrong, common error, something wrong, and yeah, we emit basically keys, and then in the front end when we render the HTML we as well translate it so it's in the correct language that's currently used. Else probably the user at this point did something wrong. If you have multiple status codes for different errors or different titles, which we will eventually do later on, you can show different errors, but for now the user's credentials are just invalid. Point. So that's something we will now implement. So basically it's the same, emitter service.auth, we do login error, we will emit, and remember we will the service errors and then the name of the service. So basically the name of the service is Auth. I'll call it Auth because authentication is so long, Auth. And then what the error will be is invalid credentials. And then we say these credentials seem to be invalid. Exclamation mark. And then we basically need to say service dot errors dot out dot invalid dot credentials. It's good that you're learning Cursor. If you have any questions about something, I can always answer them. By the way, I like teaching programmers some new stuff and as well learn it. So basically our mob needs to return true, and in our catch we need to return an observable of it's just off now, I think. no frameworks, always great. Let's first look this one up, and then as well trouble Auth. So error, yeah. We use Spring Data. Yes. I can show it. So we now need to use pipe. I know that one. So methods to create observable, we just use Auth. Huh. So now it's just Auth dot false. Is that correct? Huh. Well, it's correct. So I think it will handle it. So we map our data to true and off. Okay, yeah. Let's read a little bit further. So using operators is now in the pipe. Renamed operators. Catch is catch error. Just okay, yeah, we have it correctly. The backend is not reactive, no. The backend uses functional of Java 8, so we're still building on Java 8 for a lot of compatibility, but we're not using RxJava there. But okay, so this function is now as well built. Jose Palca, I will show you that we are using Spring Data. So for our RMDBS, I can show you, for example, my DAO. You can see GPA repository. We don't need to implement anything. That's just it. Should prove that we are using GPA and Spring Data. Okay. So we still have an error here that IntelliJ doesn't complain on, which is weird. So I will see if I can find the settings. Okay, it's a color scheme, it's code style. Formatting. Recompile on changes. I just want this to give an error, but I don't know why IntelliJ is. What do you mean, the n+1 problem? I never heard of it. compiling. So we are compiling without issues. I shouldn't be. I don't know what's going on. This should give an error. Thanks for subscribing, Shimmy Shimmy. Thank you very much. Hey. This shouldn't give an error, in my point of view, because we did not create that method. Look, we cannot go to there, but it's not giving me an error, which is weird. And I'm trying to solve it, but yeah, you can. I think you can post a link, yeah. Let's read it. So the hybrid input one comes with one to memory. Okay. Yeah, I did not yet came to the point of that, but this article is from 2014, so is it still there? I don't think that it's still in there. I don't know if it's still in there, but I never came across of it, so when I come across of it, now I know of it. Thanks. Yeah, we're using Afer because it comes with default with Spring Boot and GPA, so that's why we're using Hibernate. But yeah, I never had any problem with it, so when I do, thanks for sharing. Now I know where it's coming from. So still no errors on this one. I won't compile errors. Does anyone know why I don't have any TypeScript errors? I don't know, is IntelliJ better than me, or? It's fine, it's fine. I just want that this gives an error. I turned it on. SQL debugging. Well, it shows the basic queries it's doing. So that's turned on. But yeah, okay. IntelliJ is getting weird, but at least it will work for the Java part. So basically what we did here is check if we can authenticate, and if we authenticate, we save it in our token info in the session storage. So we will create our private refresh after delay, which is a void. So we have let token, it's a string, this dot get token, and we will then of course implement get token. And of course const. So we have a public get token, which will return a string. So we have const token info equals session storage dot get item token dash info. If the token info or so if we do not have the token info object, or in the token info object for some reason there is no access token in there, we return null. Then we have our const access token equals JSON dot parse token info dot access underscore token. So if that's another private method we will create. So if this access token is not valid, we as well return null. Else we will return the access token. So yeah, basically what we're saying is token info, if everything is existing and the access token is valid, we return it. Ah man, just give me an error. I don't want these errors. If you have an entity object which has a field and a large collection size, it can treat. Yeah, okay, that's true. But in development, I believe first get the things working and then think about performance. That's the only way forward. That's how I learned to create clean code. So performance comes after the delivery of the functionality, but of course you always keep it a little bit in mind. So we will create our private we have a private is valid. We have a token, which is a string. It's a boolean, and then we say return jwt.isToken expired. If the token is not expired, we see it as valid. Well, the first time you deploy your app on a production server, you should deploy it on a UAT server which mimics your production server, and on that UAT server, UAT stands for user acceptance testing, by the way, you would performance test it. that's something you just need to do. It's but it's always difficult for performance, and yeah, you put it then on a new server and you are never 100% sure how it's going to perform on that server, because on the server could be, well, it's a small chance, but there could be some hard disk issues, which then as well gives wrong indication of performance. So it's a bit, yeah. So we have another method, public get token info, which will return any. It's because it returns an object. So we basically do the same as here. If we do not have this, we return null, and else we return the token info object. Oh yeah, we were with busy with the refresh delay, of course. So we have our token. So if our token is not equals to null, we can continue. So we say we need a new observable, so we say auth, and it's an empty observable. Then we say delay it by 3000 times, which is almost an hour. It's a little bit less than an hour. So now we say we subscribe to this. On the subscribe we have a result, which we don't need, and then we say this dot refresh token. And then of course we need to subscribe to it. The refresh token we need to implement. We need to subscribe to it as well. This will as well return a boolean, so we will say result, and it's a boolean. Then if success, result, sorry, result, then we do it again, else we will trigger a logout. So if our refresh is success, we will just trigger it again. If it's not a success, we log out the user, so he needs to log in, so he has a valid token again. So that's what our refresh after delay is doing. So we need a refresh token method. Let's implement it. So we have public refresh token servable a boolean, so what will we do here? It's basically the same as above. Yeah, it's the same. But we do refresh token, and we will pass it the token as well. We need basically to parse in the we need to say get token info dot refresh underscore token. Or do we need the real token? I'm confused. We need the refresh token. Yeah. So we need the refresh token. After that, we again map it to our can't type today. So we map it again to our we put it again in our token info. We handle the errors, and that's it. So we used as well the logout. So we public logout, which is a void. So basically what this logout does is we have a session storage dot set dot remove item token dash info. So we remove the token. As well, we will have our emitter service off, and then we will do a user logged in. It emits false. This one emits false. So our logout will basically just say, okay, we remove the token from our system storage and we emit that the user is false, and then in probably the app component we should handle it to redirect the user back to the login page. So why not do that first? So app component here. So our event emitter service, that's why we use it. We can just in our constructor say emitter service dot off user log in dot take. Okay, we need to extend base component, but as well we say we take until, I don't know if we can do it. No, we cannot. So it returns an event emitter, and event emitter is a subject, so we can do a take until. So we do here dot pipe. Sorry, I always forget to use the pipe now. Take until this dot ng unsubscribe. I'm not used to using the pipe. And then we have here our is logged in. It's a boolean. And then if is logged in is false, we say well, we need an extra service, private router. So we say this dot router dot navigate by URL, and we go to slash login. So when we are logged out, we will just redirect to the login page. That's what we just set in this piece of code. So that's how you then use the event emitter to subscribe to a certain value. What do we as well need as well? Sorry, public a function that says if you're authorized or not. Is authorized. Okay, which returns then a bool. So we say const is okay, so we do const token. I'll basically return this dot get token not equals to null, and in get token we check if it's valid and if it exists. So that's everything. So that's is authorized, and that's it for this class. So we can now basically authenticate the user, which is nice, but there is no way that Angular at the current moment can know that the user is authenticated. So basically what we will do is we will create an out guard service, which is something from let's first create file out dash guard dash dot service. Okay, yes. So it's an injectable export class out guard service, which implements can activate, and it's something from Angular router. And basically what this does, we need to why doesn't it give errors? It really, I want it to give errors, guys. So basically we need to implement a method so the can activate. We need to import and it will just be this one. Why doesn't it give I really don't know what JetBrains is doing to my IntelliJ, and now it's hanging. Come on. So I want this. How can I have it? So if I press here on TypeScript compile, we don't have any, but if I comment this one out, we should have errors. But there are no errors. Huh. And if I close my IntelliJ completely, what will it do then? That's my question. Will it trigger errors, or will it be just a bastard? Yeah, I tried doing Jose, but it doesn't do it. It doesn't do it. So this should give me red lines and errors because I commented the import, but doesn't do it. No, it's TypeScript. It's TypeScript. I'm not using ECMAScript. This all looks right. It's in the project settings. What should be set? Well, I'm not using JavaScript, so I don't think so. It should just work, but I can change it. Settings, JavaScript to the 6. Nothing changed. Let's open another Angular project, which I was playing around with, and see if I can get an error there. Now we know that it's my project and not IntelliJ. So I have another project here. We say this dot does not exist, and it doesn't complain, so it's definitely my IntelliJ settings somewhere. It started when I enabled the TS-lint, so if I disable it, will it then do something? Come on. Why is it not an error? Well, let's see. Settings. Can we update some plugins maybe? TypeScript. No plugin. Angular plugin. Do we need to update it? No. Dang it. Node. No updates. I don't know, this is really annoying. This is really annoying. I could try default settings, but yeah, okay. Doesn't do anything. And I just want you to work. See, it has this, but it has validate imports. Come on, what is it? This sucks. Why doesn't it give me an error? So if I do this dot not there, it will not do anything. But if I try to compile it, this will surely crash. See, I have errors. But it's not. Hey man. It looks like it cannot open files or something. I don't know. So now it's compiling the TypeScript files. But should do it automatically. How to compile TypeScript, because it's not doing it. Enable TypeScript compiler. Yeah, this is already old. Now we're using another compiler. Maybe that's it. That is it. I wouldn't know. It's not working. Let's see. Maybe I should as well look into the IntelliJ logs. Well, C++ is not the best language to start first. I would choose another language to start learning programming. Where can we find the log files? Oh yeah, show in Explorer. Okay. Oh, I wasn't here. Show log files. Nice. So we go all the way down. It's not updating the log file, dang it. Okay. Let's read it. That's maybe something we can try. Invalidate caches and restart. Well, I would recommend that you read Java as a starting language. It's the language I started with C++ and I was not really into coding because of it, and then I started learning Java, and yeah, it's then I got really into coding, and it's a fun language to learn, and not too difficult for starters. Or you can do C# as well. That's also a good language to learn. If the chat has other opinions, they're of course welcome to give them. Now we're indexing. I'm creating a CMS in Java and Angular, and eventually I wanted that it's so flexible that developers can also use React and stuff to create new components for it. But yeah, it's just we're still in the beginning. We don't have anything, and IntelliJ is doing some weird stuff. Content management system, like Drupal or Joomla or WordPress, but this one will have a little more. Well, it will be different functions, let's say, because I'm creating a headless CMS and a full CMS both. This indexing can take long. Yes, especially for websites, yes. How do you like the indexing screen, guys? Not too boring, I hope. Dang. We're starting to index the Java stuff. Not bad. And we're getting somewhere. Come on. Okay, we're getting some live again in our IDE. Let's see if it's crashing something or not. No errors, great. They should give errors. What's a code monkey? I don't know, man. So it looks like IntelliJ doesn't want to play ball anymore with my project. So what can we do? We still have an IntelliJ. Valask, what's a code monkey? Can you explain it? Because maybe I am a code monkey. I don't know. So we go to our. So basically, we will turn off IntelliJ. Sometimes this is the best solution. We go to our IDE. We have IntelliJ here, and we say we create. So I'm replacing everything in the folder, and yeah, maybe then IntelliJ works. Well, then I'm a code monkey. Yeah, a lot of time goes into coding because for one, I do it as a job. It's my main occupation. I have my own company which creates small websites. We develop the product for physiotherapists as well, and then now I just started doing some Twitch streaming and creating on my own a big project which is open source, which is also some more time. But I also go out with friends still. I play some sports, so I'm sitting a lot behind some code, but I still do other stuff. I also play some games as well. Maybe I will stream those. I don't know if I'm an interesting guy to see gaming. Probably not. But yeah. But I think of my time without sleeping, I don't sleep that much, but without sleeping, I think 70% of my time goes to coding. Yeah, and that's something the girlfriend doesn't like. So it's not doing anything. So a new installation might. I really don't know what's going on. Is there some way to reset your settings? IntelliJ reset settings. Help? Okay, so what they're saying, exit, close it, home folder, delete the IntelliJ folders. So I will not have settings anymore. Do not import settings. Okay, nice. We have new settings. So we use Dracula, which is correct. We already have it, which is fine. It's fine. Yeah. install Node.js. Install live edit tool. Start using IntelliJ. So first we will still do some settings because there is something of the key map I don't like. So we have our default for Xwin, then we have duplicate, which is Control D. I want to duplicate to be Control Y, remove, and then delete should be for me Control D because I learned to work with it like that. So now we have back our default TypeScript stuff. I will just leave it like this. We will open a project. So my project is under documents, CMS, and that's it. Let's see if it's working. I was not working in Dracula, no. I was working in the other one. I'll switch back. Is the text still readable or not? Yeah, now we need to index again. Appearance. I was using this one, I think. Oh yeah, it's way better. Light is way better. So guys in the chat, do you also use IntelliJ or do you guys use another CMS? Tell me, I'm interested. I don't know if I'm interesting. I'm interested in what you guys think. Wow, no response. Dang it. I'm so sorry guys that we need to fix IntelliJ issues, but I cannot do come on IntelliJ, faster! Do it faster! Come on. Moment of truth. It's not doing it, and I don't know why. So yeah, I will sorry, I will stop the stream here and try to figure it out, I guess. But yeah, it's it should give an error here that we need a super. If we remove this, it should give an error. Oh, we need to import it, of course. It should give an error that we need to import it. We can say implement all members, but it's not crashing, and I want it to crash, and I don't know why it's not doing it, so I will figure that one out offline because it's not interesting. If you like the stream in the beginning where we did a little bit of coding, be sure to follow me. I as well create a Discord channel. You can chat with me when I'm not streaming as well. And join me this evening for a next stream when I fixed the problem. See you guys.